Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be building the Kyosho Javelin. And I wanted to start this yesterday, but I needed to get this parts tray 3D printed. And it took 24 hours to get that guy done. So, but it ought to hold all the parts. There's a lot of parts in this kit, so I needed a lot bigger parts tray than what I had. So, let's just get on with this. Go through the parts here. You can see there's a lot of parts in it. First thing we're going to be doing is, let's see, differentials right off the bat. Okay, here we go. So the first thing we got to do is open up all the bags for this assembly. And there's always a lot of different bags that you got to open. So I'll try to get them all opened up and sorted out into the various trays. And I try to look through the bags and make sure there's nothing left in them, because there's been a couple times I've been building a kit and I went to look for a part and come to find out it was stuck in the little corner of the bag and couldn't see it. So, but I try to keep all the parts organized, you know, whatever bag they were in, I keep them in their own tray, so that way things don't get mixed up. So, okay, there's all the parts sorted out. Now we need some parts off of this card here. And we need the differentials. And there are two different assemblies here that we could do. We could do the chain drive assembly or the belt drive. And we're going to be going with the belt drive. Here we have the various components of the differential on the card here. And there's two different assemblies. Like I said, there's a belt drive or chain drive, and the cover that goes on the differential housing. One of them's got teeth for the belt, and one of them's got teeth for the chain. So we need the ones for the belt. So we get this taken out. There's the belt. The covers. These two we don't need. Oops. There's one of the diff housings. Here is the back plate for the transmission, the motor plate actually. And there's, trying to get this stuff off here is kind of a pain. There's the other differential housing for the front. Okay. There's the rest of the transmission gears and the spur gear. Right now, so we'll put those over there. You can see here, this one, the teeth on this are set up for the chain. And the teeth on the belt drive housing is set up for the belt, so that's the one we're going with. And I don't think the belt, well, the belt didn't come in the kit back in the day, but I always wanted the belt because the chain was so loud, and this was supposed to be a lot quieter. So that's why I'm going to go with it now, because I had the chain before and I didn't really care for it. So let's get on with this assembly. So right here we have the pin that the bevel gear sits in, and I'm trying to get this in here But I'm using tweezers, and I always forget that the best thing to use are these flush cut pliers right here. They get a nice little grip on the pin without doing any damage to it, and you can get it to slide right into that hole in the out drive. So here we're putting the other pin in the other side of the housing, and these pliers, they're just like a lifesaver for this. Oops, it just fell out. Okay, we'll try this again. There we go. All right. Now we put the other bevel gear in. And start putting the spider gears together. And normally I would be putting some diplet in these, but this is just a shelf queen, so we're just going to use a little bit of grease. And just enough to lubricate everything. So that way keeps everything from rusting or anything like that, because this is just going to sit on a shelf. Sad to say, but make sure everything works properly. All right. So we'll speed this up here and get the covers bolted together and then move on to the transmission. So here we're going to assemble the idler gear for the belt drive, and it's got a bearing that goes in each end of it. And these are a pretty snug fit. It's just a plastic gear, but the bearings don't seem to want to go in very well. So what you can do is take the shaft that the bearings go on, slide that through the bearings, and then they'll press into the gear a lot easier. So here we are going to put the belt in the differential. This is a little fiddly to get this all held in place while you get this pressed through here. All right, and the idler gear. Put a little grease on here. I'm not putting too much grease in here because, like I said, this is just a shelf queen. I would love to take it out for a drive, but that's just not an option. I'm building the whole, trying to build the whole Legendary series, and I'm going to keep them all shelf queens. Maybe someday later on I'll buy extras to take them out and drive them. But so there we got the belt moving smoothly. Put the other housing on. And that's pretty much the transmission. I'll get it bolted together and we'll move on to the next step. So now we are ready for step 5. And we're going to be assembling the front differential. Takes these two housings here. So we get these trimmed off and get on with the assembly. One thing I wanted to mention on the spider gears in the differential, if you look at the shaft, here on each end of the shaft outside of the spider gears, there's these little washers that go on here, and I completely spaced it and forgot to put them in the front differential. So I'll take this apart and go back and put these in, and then we'll be right back. Okay, there's the diff reassembled properly this time. So now we're going to move on to the next step here. Open this bag here. And get all this stuff ready to go. There's thread locker. Now we're not going to use thread lock on this kit since this is just a shelf queen. Now these parts here, these are the plastic covers that go over the belt drive track or chain drive track, whichever you decide to use. But these allow for like a visual inspection of your belt or chain assembly, so you can make sure there's nothing going wrong inside there. Alrighty, I got these trimmed out. Let's take this cover here. I always start from the back of the exploded view and work my way to the front. I don't know why. Just what I've always done. And this shows the gear for the belt is on the back, and we're going to have to put the belt around this. Okay. And then another bearing on this side. These bearings fit in here nice. Some kits you go to try to put the bearings in and they're really tight or a little loose. Okay, now we're ready for the belt guard. And this, if I remember correctly, is the fun part. The part that I really didn't like. And like I said, I was 16 years old when I built this kit. That was a long time ago. And I remember I hated this piece, or this whole part of the assembly, because it's really fiddly to try to get everything to stay together while you're trying to hold the belt guard in place and get the screws in and everything. Okay, so now, and one thing to look for, always look at your exclamation points. It says important, note the direction. So, and that's talking about the differential. If you get it flipped around backwards, things won't line up. Here it says don't over tighten, note direction, front end is marked. Okay. And that would be this little mark right here. On that one, a little longer one, we got front mark here. And I'll go ahead and get this assembled, and we'll skip to the end where we got the final assembly done. Everything looks to be working smoothly. Okay, on to step 7. We are going to be assembling this. And we're going to need this. This is a nut for a screw. We've got this screw right here. It goes through this hole. And like I said, I would normally use Loctite. Anything that's metal to metal. Anytime you put a screw into a metal, put a little Loctite on it. But since this is just a shelf queen, I am not going to do that. If you need to hold on to this piece, put your pen through there, and you can hold on to it to tighten the screw. And you want to keep your pen hole straight anyway. Like I said, this would definitely, you would want to put Loctite on this because you don't want this backing out. Okay, then we've got this piece, and looks like one of these. Yeah, it's the same screw. Okay, and that goes through this top hole here. Now our wing supports. Aha. Okay. Back to this. And this is a pain in the butt. Can't wait till that gets bolted onto something. So now we've got to go back to this. It looks like we're going to need the chassis rails. There, and this one, we'll go there, again it says to put Loctite on these, but we're not using Loctite on this build. Okay, well, this piece goes in here. And 3x8s, 2 more of these. starting to look like a chassis. Oh, gotta get the rails on. This will fix a lot of problems. Okay, and we've got 2 holes, the 2, wait a minute, yeah, the 2, okay, note hole position is inside. So we have a hole here that's on the inside. So these rails have to go this way. So you get this one hole here that's pushed towards the inside of the rails. Well, that's kind of strange. So we've got a flathead that goes here. There's a flathead pocket, and they're telling you to put a button head screw in the back hole here temporarily. Okay, there's all of that done. Now we need this plastic piece. We're going to use this. OT205. Right there. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and cut open the rest of the plastic parts and get them laid out here so I can find them easier. Alright, so we got this piece, and is this symmetrical? It appears somewhat symmetrical. No, it is not. Okay, so there is a lip there, so that goes down. And I'm betting that would be for the sway bar. That little gap right there. Which I'm probably going to try to find for this. Open bag C. And inside bag C we have a bunch more bags. These are the tools, which, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and open it anyway. I love this wrench that they supply, the shock wrench. They supply that with all the Kyosho kits. Another Allen wrench. And another one of these. I can't tell you how many of these I've got. Bunches and bunches and bunches of them. I actually have so many of them, I made a little holder there so it slides into my tool stand. So this gets held on with 2 of those. Remember, the groove goes down. That's the first time I've seen Kyosho counterboards that the screws didn't set flush. I don't know what that's all about. There's that piece, and then we got this. Okay. So this is where we start tying this thing together. Okay. Make sure everything still rotates good. And now we've got this piece, which goes on here like so. Now this snaps down onto this. So this is what keeps this piece of plastic from coming up out of there too. Where, okay, so it's going to line up with these 2 holes here. Don't over tighten these. Just snug them down good. And these, get that. Those 2 bolts in. Those 4 in. Those 2 in. Okay, that's all of that. Now we're moving on up to the servo saver. Okay, and here's where we're going to wrap this video up, and we'll be back for step 10, where we're going to be installing the servo saver. So, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the rest. Bye.